What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Just letting you know with this little bit at the start that we now have a Patreon. Sub up to that and you can get all these episodes early and ad-free, so you won't even see this bit at the start. You get them a few days before the main episodes drop out. We've got some great guests coming up. We've got some studio episodes. We've got some Zoom episodes with some fantastic rappers talking about the films they love and the films that influenced them. We got a lot going on there. Plus, you get some bonus content like film reviews, all that kind of thing. I don't need to explain this to you. You know what a Patreon is. But yeah, it's patreon.com/Kinell Sinister Cinema. So check that out. Peace. Yes, people. What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Kinell Sinister Cinema is brought to you by Forgotten Sons Apparel. Check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Forgotten Sons Apparel is a York-based streetwear brand drawing inspiration from alternative culture, tattoos, film, classic TV and cartoons from our childhood. In our own words, if you like our stuff half as much as we do, then we like it twice as much as you. I'm a big fan of this brand and I love the guys who make it. They've supported me for years, way before I was podcasting. They supported me in my battle rap career. You might have seen me rocking some of their garms on Don't Flop and other leagues. I love Forgotten Sons Apparel and I'm urging you all to check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Right, now on with the show. Yes, people, it is the KSC once again, and we've got an absolute treat for you today. This is someone I'm absolutely delighted to get on. This is someone who's been a big influence on me, and someone whose taste I really, truly admire in literally everything he does. Flipping, this is someone that I believe we could legitimately call a genius. It is none other than Cruger. This is the guy I first knew as like, the tall white guy in the background of the WRCs back in 07. Went on to co-found Don't Flop and create some of the most amazing battles in Don't Flop. He's, his music's incredible, his style is, like, everything just fits so perfectly with the way he words things. It's something that I've always aspired to, man. I flipping wish I had a tenth of what he was capable of. Lately, you might have seen him going, like, viral whenever he fucking feels like it. Because he's doing these videos at the minute, and you've definitely seen one of them. Like, even if you're not into, like, battle rap or rap in general, you'll have seen one of these popping across your Twitter feed at some point. He's doing these, like, rap versions of things like the steamed ham scene from The Simpsons. Recently did the whole of Pulp Fiction. He's taken these incredible scenes, particularly like the David Attenborough, that lizard trying to get away from the racist snakes. Do you remember that one? That was popping, man. Like he's presenting those like with rap commentaries, and they're fucking incredible. Like how he manages to do something that's so descriptive and keep that style of humor. And you can go back and find earlier work that he's done with him. Like look at the Rayman rap, like rapping over like a game of fucking Rayman on the PS1. Like it's fucking. The guy is incredible, like. But I've also, like, really enjoyed hanging out with him outside of rap. I've just in general, like outside events, like, talking to him about films and stuff. A lot. He's one of these guys that if he recommends you something, you know it's going to bang because he's into all the good shit. And I'm not going to spoil some of the things I talked about with him because we're going to get into it now. But, yeah, what a legend. It's the KSC podcast. This is Cruger. On with the show. Recording in progress, and we are rolling. Cruger, how's it going, la?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. I love to be, a part of this. So I saw you had a podcast about films, and I was like, I got to be involved.
Oh, hell yeah. You're exactly someone I wanted to have on. It's like the last couple of people I've had, I just recorded with Tony. And I recorded with Shuffle earlier, and they were both like, "Oh, you got to get Cruger on." I was like, "Yeah, I definitely got to do that." But you contacted me before I had a chance to contact you, so this should definitely be a good one.
Yeah, man. I saw you did the one with Shuffle T, and I was like, "This sounds like a bit of meat, man."
Yeah, man.
I listened to the Shuffle T, man. It was a good listen.
Yeah, fucking a lot, but people tend to be like checking them on the Spotify and like Apple Podcasts, but not so much the YouTube yet. So I'm hoping people find their way over there. Like, but as long as it's a good format, works either way. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird, like that. What you call it? It's a film podcast, but the audio's doing better. But yeah,
No,
anyway,
I just don't get how it works anymore. Like, I feel like everything's just gone upside down. Like, obviously, everyone's popular in their own different formats. Like, my
yeah.
stuff seems to be performing best on TikTok now, which is weird. But then, you know, it does all right on Instagram. My YouTube doesn't get too many views. So it's quite interesting that, like, the different social platforms that, like, are better for your content and stuff.
Yeah, I think because YouTube's like selling so much stuff, like
Yeah.
flipping, like that they need the kind of things that they can sell stuff on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't help myself by talking about Epstein every other episode, so that's one thing. Like that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying it is anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Regardless, but yeah, we're recording this on like this will probably go out next week. But we're recording this on the 13th of July, so it's been absolutely baking. And there's one film I really want to talk to you about. Like, first off, like, have you seen Incantation yet?
Incantation? No, I haven't even
Yeah,
heard of that.
yeah, it's on Netflix, man. They dropped it off with no fanfare, and like a few days ago, like the only person I knew who'd seen it is someone who's like algorithms particularly skewed towards that. They haven't really been pushing it. It's a Taiwanese film.
Yeah.
It's like a found footage film, but it's a kind of like a sort of got a bit of like a viewer interaction thing with it. Like
Oh,
right
really? Like Bandersnatch?
no, it's like a sort of like a you're being addressed by this woman who's introducing it. First thing
Yeah.
she does is like shows you this symbol on the screen and
Yeah.
like goes, you need to memorize this symbol and this chant, and you'll be sending blessings to my daughter who's been cursed, like, and all this.
Wow, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, and it kind of unfolds in like a non-linear way. So you see like the background to like what this curse might be and flipping all that kind of background. And then it switches up, and at one point it's not what you think it is. But yeah, man, you've got to watch that. I really want to hear it.
What kind of genre is it? Horror?
It's a, I'd say
This
it's like,
genre.
it's like found footage horror. But
I've not
it's
heard that term before. Found footage. What does that mean?
that's like a Blair Witch Project.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
like Wreck or stuff like that.
I
like,
love that. I love them kind of films. I honestly love those kind of films. Cloverfield.
yeah, I go
Yeah.
through
Blair
phases
Witch
of like,
Project. I think Blair Witch Project was one of the first ones, and I actually think that still holds up as one of the best ones. I like the Wreck movies as well, but I just think Blair Witch Project is like it's still creepy to this day, man. It's done so well, and it's so
yeah,
simple. I
that
find
was
it
it.
quite
Like,
bad that was one of the first films that was it got famous through the internet as well, and it went viral. They uploaded it online before
yeah,
it had like
then-
an internet sensation. This was in like 1999 when the internet wasn't what it was today.
yeah, flipping. It was like basic HTML pages, like like some, because that's all
People
the
thought it was
internet was.
real.
Yeah, they presented it as that. Like it
Yeah.
probably was the first viral film that was actually went to cinemas. Like you're right there, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so first off, we'll have to mention at the top, you've been doing these ace little videos recently. You sort of mentioned like they've been going off on TikTok and all that kind of thing. But I dare say everyone who watches or listens to this is already familiar with them. But just in case, you want to give us a little breakdown of some of the ones you've been doing, like?
Yeah, man. I'm basically like just doing rap narration. That's the best, easiest way to explain it. But I'm taking videos and then just narrating it through rap. So, I mean, I started it ages ago, like during the Don't Flop days. The first one I did was the Rayman thing. And that was the first time I ever did it. And it was basically, I took loads of footage of someone playing Rayman, which was one of my favorite games growing up.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of association with it. It was close to me. That's why I was like invested in doing it. And also I love the soundtrack of Rayman. Like the music was incredible. And then when I started rapping to it, I was like, this is so fun to rap to. These beats are so fun to rap to. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do a Rayman rap. And then I was like, all right, let me just take the video and just rap about what's happening. And then I did a few of those, and then that kind of like really went off. And then That's still one of my favorite ones, to be honest. I love that. And I've only just started doing it again recently. I think after Rayman, I did a cartoon frog one. That ended up getting removed from YouTube because it was like a copyright claim or something. But it's still online on Vimeo. And then I just kind of thought, and then I didn't rap for ages, didn't make any tracks for like years. And then when I came back, I started doing more of the video game raps. I did Mario, Donkey Kong, And then I just kind of recently, since I bought this mic, since lockdown, really, I've been getting back into making tracks again. And it's just like an easy kind of format, which I think is like, I don't see anyone else doing it. So I feel like it's a niche that I can fill. So I just started doing, and I'm just trying to branch out and do different kinds of things. So I started doing nature videos, like David Attenborough clips, and rapping along to that.
Fantastic.
And then I've done like a film. I've done like a Pulp Fiction scene.
The Pulp Fiction one's exceptional. Like,
oh, thanks, man.
They're all great. Like, but obviously, like Pulp Fiction is something that's so close to my heart. Like,
yeah, of course. Yeah, same as me. That's why I wanted to cover it. I really want to do more of those movie scenes, but it's just hard finding the right scene that I can really, that would work for that kind of thing. There's so many things you could throw out there, but finding the right thing and the right beat and the right kind of me to be in the right mood to write it, that's the tricky part. But yeah, there's also the Simpsons one I did, the steamed hams one, that got the most attention because obviously steamed hams is a viral thing in itself. Yeah. So that there's been so many different versions of steamed hams. And then I was happy that I could add to that by doing a steamed hams, but it's a rap version. But I've got more on the way as well. I've got a new one dropping very soon, like classic Disney cartoon, Mickey Mouse. That's been like, I'm literally just like, I've already recorded it. I'm just like doing the video and stuff now. So that'll be out really soon.
Okay, cool, man. I'll be looking forward to that one. I've been excited for it already. But So getting into films then. Yeah. I don't know where to start, man. You've got such a wide selection of taste, and it's all the good shit. It's all the shit I like, man. Like whenever I speak to you, there's always like various touch. I remember recently, I think we might be talking on Letterboxd about Ricky O or something.
Yes, Ricky O. I'm glad you brought that one up, man. That's one of my favorite films, and I feel like you're way more in tune with a lot of the B movies and like the kind of extreme like horror, old school, like them kind of. I'm not as in tune as you are. I see your Letterboxd, like the amount of films you watch and stuff, and I honestly I admire you. Like I'm kind of jealous of how many films you've seen that I haven't. But I haven't seen as many of them old sort of B movie types. But that was one I watched a very long time ago, and like that one really struck with me just because it's so bizarre, but like brilliant, and just like it's extreme gore, but like to a like it's almost comedic level. But like even the effects in it, even though they're not like you can tell it's like a face, like a obviously it was quite old when it was made as well, right? I can't remember when it came out. But like, you'll punch into someone's face and then it'll cut to like a like a model face and then it'll punch straight through and all that kind of stuff. But I like seeing I prefer that than the CGI type stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I like the sort of the look of them kind of old school effects like blood gushing and fake heads and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the probably like the 80s and like the early part of the 90s was the big era of that. Like I briefly mentioned Ricky O the other day when I was talking to Tony, like because like I found out I already owned it because like when I watched it again, I was like flipping, I need to like deep dive into this director and see what other ones he had. And I found out that I already owned a film by him. Yeah. And it's a sex film, but it's still got kung fu in it. Like,
what do you mean by the same person that made the film, or the same actor that's in it?
No, the same director. Yeah, it was literally the film he made before Ricky O.
He made a porn film.
Yeah, but with kung fu in it.
But with kung fu in it.
Yeah, it's called An Erotic Ghost Story, which was like sort of like basically a version of like, because the Chinese ghost story films were big at the time. So someone said like, right, let's make one with tits and shagging in it. And they gave him the job. And he's like, yeah, but we're still having kung fu. We're still having wire work. We're still having crazy sound effects. And he did that before. And that, I think like he did that and like put out Ricky O. Like they were in with like 8 months of each other or something like.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder what did you do after? Need to check out his IMDb. I've only ever seen Ricky O, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, like he had a big run of films, like when they weren't so easy to get over here. Like, I mean, like Ricky O's like, it's kind of like it's a cult one, isn't it? Like, flip, it's got
Yeah.
a cult following over here, like, and like
Yeah.
the other ones haven't really come over in that same way. Like,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of his downloaded. One called The Cat, which is about
Yeah.
an alien cat. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Men Behind the Sun?
Yes, flipping.
That's a very dark film.
Yeah, flipping.
I don't know why that just came into my head when you mentioned the cat.
Funnily enough, I had a look on your letterbox today. I think you referenced it in your review of Titane.
Yes, yeah, that was right. Yeah. I haven't really left. I think that's the only thing I've left a review on.
It is. We've just got one review, and it's Titane. Amazing film, like.
Oh yeah, did you like that? What did you think?
I thought it was really good. Like flipping, like the French like go in phases of like putting out a lot of mad films, and then there's just like Gaspar Noé who just constantly does it. And like, I think they're going back into another one of them now. I think we're having another phase of that. I think Titane's like, I think it's going to be the start of another like French wave. Like,
I hope so, man. I was blown away by that film. Like, I didn't know what to expect, and then it just kind of, it was so bizarre, and I didn't know where it was going. But it was just, I loved it the whole way through. That was another one that's very dark. Like, sorry, pardon me. Half of the film, I was watching it through, like literally, like cover my face, like hiding in my t-shirt, watching it. Like, I couldn't watch it. She was like doing that scene in the bathroom. Oh my god, it's crazy. Morphing her face basically, so she looked like trying to hide her identity.
Yeah, it's visceral. Like you can, like you know, it's like the complete opposite to like they're both forms of fantasy violence, really, but it's the complete opposite of Ricky O, where like these horrendous mutilations are like really enjoyable and entertaining. And something like that, it's just so visceral. You can feel it.
Yeah. And just so bizarre where it leads to with the guy that you know, the fireman guy that they meet in the second half of the film, and him like adopting her as his son. It's just like you when you watch the first half of the film, you don't think that's what's going to be the second half of the film, but it was all such interesting characters, and it was very kind of like I felt on edge the whole time of like not knowing like what's going to happen. Like, that was brilliant. That was definitely one of the best films I've seen in recent years. That resonated with me in the right way. I've seen a lot of quite good films, but that came out recently. But that was definitely probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, if I'd have caught that last year when it came out, it would have been one of my favorites of last year. Like it definitely.
Yeah.
Fucking up there with Malignant and The Scary of 61st.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I think body horror's coming back. You know.
Yeah.
It's starting to happen again. Did you see Possessor?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. I got that on my watch list actually.
Yeah, it's David Cronenberg's son, isn't it? And
yeah.
And Cronenberg himself's got a new one that I thought we're going to be able to get the Blu-ray soon because it's already been released overseas, but it's not getting released over here till September. I'm like, do I want to get it that way early or do I want to wait for the cinema? But he's going back to the old school stuff. He's going back to like the kind of Existence vibe.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
No, I don't think I'm not really familiar with what you. Who is you talking about? What films are you talking about?
David Cronenberg.
I need to look him up actually, because I'm not sure I know his work.
There's loads you'll know by him, like Scanners, The Fly.
Yes, I love The Fly. Yeah, that is classic. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, flipping. But
he's back,
Yeah, he's going back to the old school style. He like went a bit more into realism for a while, things like Eastern Promises and that kind of thing.
Videodrome, I loved.
Oh yeah, incredible.
That was a very crazy film.
Yeah,
man, nice.
Yeah, he's been getting a bit more into reality with things like Eastern Promises and History of Violence for a while. But like,
Yeah.
I think his son doing something that was a bit more like what he used to do. He's like, I'll show you the boss here, and he's gone back to that. Did you ever see Existence back in the day?
I don't think so. I've heard that name though. That sounds familiar. Existence.
Yeah,
No, I don't think I ever saw this one.
it was around the time like it was sort of like the sort of in the pre-wave to like the Matrix and everything. There was things like
Yeah.
Dark City coming up, and there was lots of cyberpunk stuff going on, like, and it was like Johnny Mnemonics and those kind of films.
Yeah.
And like he kind of went that way, but it's a bit more visceral. It's like stuff that plugs into people's brains, but because it's him, it's like these weird pulsating things that you stick into the back of your neck.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Came out the same year as the Matrix as well.
Yeah.
Do you mainly watch like horror films, or do you like to watch every single type of film?
I try and watch every single type, but I skew towards horror because you see how much I watch, and there's so many films, and there's only so much time in a day. Like,
exactly, yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
the watch list just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I just try and like know the people who've got the best recommendations.
Yeah. Do you like sort of commercial films like the Marvel universe and all that kind of stuff?
The Marvel universe, I'm a bit like that with, because I'm not as invested with the comics, but like when they do it right, they do it really right.
Yeah, I'm honestly not into it. But I think I'm a bit of a hipster, really, because I've just found that most popular things that people love, I'm just not interested in whatsoever. Like the whole Marvel, like Batman, superhero movies, I just don't really care for them. I don't really care for James Bond. Don't care for.
I haven't seen a James Bond since flipping Pierce Brosnan. Like, literally, I haven't even seen him.
Yeah, Star Wars as well. Don't care for that. Like all of these huge franchises, but I don't know if it's just because I'm just a hipster. But I like, because I'm so like such a film enthusiast, and I love so many different types of films. But a lot of these big ones, I just really like have no motivation. I don't like, or I've tried to watch them before, and they just don't resonate with me whatsoever.
Do you think the franchise thing is like I think that's something that's a bit of a problem nowadays. Like, but it's producing what's making the most money. It's about you can't just have a film anymore. It's got to have an extended universe. And it comes to the point that like some of the biggest films, you need to watch 5 other films to know what's going on in them. And that's not even all the ones. Like,
yeah. No, yeah, I don't like that, man. I think every film should be like, you shouldn't have to have watched a sequel to understand it, or a prequel or whatever.
Yeah, it's nice to have a
almost like, it almost reminds me of the same way in battles. I feel like you shouldn't be too specific about the battle culture. You should just have stuff that an average fan can come in and watch it and be like entertained, or like people that are there on a day that don't know all the battle history. Obviously, everyone does personals and internals, and that's how you make it fun. But I like the way when battlers when you can just be a new fan and you just get it and get engrossed in it. But that just kind of reminded me of the same way you're talking about films.
Yeah,
about I kind of like what I like to see in battle rap.
That's very true. Like, and like that's why like flipping you haven't battled in flipping years, but you're still flipping regarded as a legend up there, because like the battles that you have done and managed to maintain a kind of timeless quality through like just be through the quality, obviously, but also through the fact that they're not tied to one specific moment in time.
I mean, even if you look at my battles, I probably are like, especially during them times, they were kind of personal. That was kind of what everyone was doing. It was attacking each other's style and but it's just, I always tried to make it so you could understand it even if you weren't an avid fan. Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know, the battles, like, I was just in the right place at the right time, I think, like when I did it all, and I'm like happy with my little run. Like, sometimes I'm a little tempted to come back, but I don't think it will ever happen at this point. I'm just
Yeah.
not motivated to battle in the same way. But I'm really happy with like my little run that I had, and then I feel like maybe I should just leave it there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's like the whole Tarantino film thing where he says like his next film's going to be his last one. He's like, no, I just wanted to make these bangers, and that's what it's going to be.
Comparing me to Tarantino, I love that.
Yeah, man.
Tarantino is probably my favorite. I mean, I hate to say it because it's almost like too much of an obvious answer, but he probably is the best director because I don't think he's ever made a bad film. Like I've liked every one of his films.
Yeah. Like some that resonates maybe more than others, but it's because he's moved between so many different styles. Like that's always going to be the case for anyone. Like you can ask 10 different people their favorite Tarantino film and get a different answer every time.
Yeah, I wonder what his last one's going to be.
Yeah, it's
There's been rumors it might be a Kill Bill 3.
Yeah,
with like the door following the door because what's the name? Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke have a daughter. Forgotten her name. She's an actor as well.
Oh yeah.
And so he was saying that it would be perfect to cast her as the daughter of the character in Kill Bill, grown up, and obviously like they've had 20 years of peace, and then now it's like interrupted by some kind of thing. But like, I don't even know if they could call it Kill Bill 3 because like
yeah, because Kill
no
Bill 2 wasn't a sequel; it was a part 2.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Yeah,
but it'd be interesting. But then I'd like to see him do something new. Do you know what? I would love to see him do a horror. I think he would do an excellent horror.
He spoke about it a few times before, and like all these clickbait, and like every time he says it in an interview, like maybe I'd like to end on a horror. He always says maybe, and then every single time, like there's a million articles saying Tarantino's last film is going to be a horror film, like, and there's never anything of any substance for it, like.
And them clickbait articles are the worst. Like,
yeah.
There's so many. Anytime Tarantino says anything, there'll be
yeah.
But he also said he was going to maybe do a Star Trek film, which sounds so crazy. But if there's anyone that can make me watch Star Trek, it'll be Tarantino.
I've never watched any Star Trek IP, like not even like one episode of it. Like,
yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
my dad used to watch it when I was little, but I just don't like. I remember the old school one with Captain Picard, but I never really watched it. I just remember it being on when I was young. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, flipping. I'm the same. Like I think like that. It was a thing that was on like tea time on like BBC Two when all the kids' TV had finished. Like so, it was So it was kind of like your cue to like go out and play football or whatever.
Yeah.
But flipping. It would be interesting. Like, I like that idea of like bringing something back, like, you know, using an actual relative, because there was that. Was it Ethan Hawke that was in Boyhood?
Well, yeah, I think he might have been. I can't actually remember. Was he the father?
Yeah, and Patricia Arquette, and they'd film like a bit every year for like 18 years or something, like from this kid being born.
Yeah,
and like
that's the one. Yeah, it took. How long did it take? Well, it's basically his whole life, isn't it, to make it?
Yeah,
it's great idea for a movie. Yeah, Ethan Hawke is dad.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's had a little resurgence recently. Like,
yeah, he's doing bits again.
Did you see Black Phone?
I haven't seen Black Phone yet.
Oh, you'd like Black Phone. That was the last film I saw in the cinema. I saw it last week.
Yeah,
in the cinema. It's a good one to see in the cinema as well.
Yeah,
it's kind of got that kind of like 80s like Stranger Things type aesthetic, like where it's like that when it's set and stuff, and it's just like kind of like an old school creepy horror movie, but it's more like a thriller. But it's just Ethan Hawke plays the creepiest guy, and they got some good like jump scares in it.
Yeah,
and it's a good one.
I like popcorn big screen horror is back. Like it flipping has been for like quite a while now, because they figured out the best way of doing it. And like, if you like analyze it, it's predictable, but just those films just to go and watch in the cinema, flipping rock.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Did you catch Malignant
as well?
What's that?
Northman.
I haven't caught the Northman.
Yeah, because no, I was just thinking because Ethan Hawke was in that as well.
Yeah.
The Northman was good. I saw that in the cinema as well. That was definitely kind of a good one to see in the cinema, just because it was so kind of epic.
Yeah. Did you catch
But yeah,
Malignant last year?
Malignant, I
Yeah.
think so. Let me just check. I've forgotten what that is, but the name rings a bell. Oh no,
Oh,
I haven't watched it. It's because I had it on my watch list. That's
yeah,
why I
man.
recognized it, but I haven't watched it yet. No, yeah, it's a good one, yeah.
I think I saw it in the cinema. I think I've like bought the Blu-ray. I'm up to 6 watches of it. Like it's just a great
Yeah,
film.
really. Okay, I'm gonna bum that up on the watch list then.
Yeah, it's really good because it's James Wan, who's like he was like flipping first Saw film and like a Conjuring film and all this like, and
Yeah,
like he kind of like ushered in this new generation of these like popcorn horrors like so in the start he very much sets it up like you know exactly what this is going to be and you know this is what I do, and then he just switches it up and like uh it's not 80s aesthetic, but it's definitely a love letter to like 80s horror.
yeah, got you.
Yeah, that's an
Did
incredible
you see Host?
host. Yeah, yeah.
What did you
Uh,
think?
flipping. I've,
The
at the
Zoom.
time, it really hit.
Yeah,
Like they nailed it because it came out at the time we were doing Zoom meetings and you were doing a flipping
yeah.
like pub quiz or something stupid online, and someone and like we'd only just started using Zoom because we were using Skype up until COVID.
I
But,
know.
yeah.
Zoom is so new. And do you remember what was the other one that came out? House Party. Did you get
Yeah,
involved in House Party?
house party had like a week.
Yeah, that came and went real quick.
Yeah, I had a week and it just said like that, and then like all these articles came out like flipping like everyone's getting their data stolen by this, as if every other app isn't doing it.
Yeah.
But,
I don't even know why it collapsed. I just think everyone just stopped using it. But is that the reason why?
yeah, it was a lot of that. Yeah, but yeah, and then Zoom just came out of nowhere and flipping like now it's like something that I need to do my job every day. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. We're using it right now.
yeah,
Yeah. But you know what? It's funny. The thing I did like about House Party is you had the little games you could play on it.
yeah, that
So
was
that was a
fun.
cool
Like,
feature. I don't know why everyone stopped using House Party.
yeah.
I'm still on House Party if you want to add me.
I might reinstall it, man. Just see who's
Yeah.
there. You probably have a house party with like the last remaining 5 house party users.
Yeah. Just everyone that's still using
Yeah,
the app. The 5 people.
yeah. But
Aside
yeah, the guy who directed Host, like obviously because that blew up, like it just hit. It was the right film at the right time.
yeah.
It just blew up worldwide, and so that guy, Jed, Rob Savage, who directed
Mm,
it, and Jed Shepard, the producer,
mm.
they've what you call it, been signed to Blumhouse, and they're like doing like big moves at the minute, like, but they're doing like this kind of like interactive like cinematic like horror like video game at the minute, like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been working on that, and flipping uh Theo Kane, FKA Psychosis Holocaust, has
Yeah.
been yeah, he's been doing a bit of assistant directing on that, like, and
That's
so
amazing. I
yeah,
love to
so
see Theo doing his thing, man.
yeah,
Smashing it.
flipping like I'm quite interested to see how that turns out, but
Yeah.
Rob Savage, they've done another film since called Dash Cam, not to be confused with another film by a guy called Christian Nielsen called Dash Cam. And
Yeah.
like, I enjoyed it as a film, but it's been causing a bit of controversy, like, because like basically the main character in it is like playing herself, and it's this woman called Annie Hardy, who's like
Right.
who's like a rapper, like she freestyles, but she's fucking terrible. No idea what a fucking multi is.
Yeah.
Absolutely dog shit, in fact. And she's got some pretty right wing fucking views. She's playing
really?
herself like. I say pretty right wing. A few of them are way out there, like.
Right. Yeah.
And fucking this film's about her. Like she does like a show on Twitch or something, where she says post words. I'll freestyle about them in my car, and like people just put slurs up and all that. So it's all that kind of thing. While the COVID still and lockdowns are still going on, she comes over to the UK.
Yeah.
And she's round being a dick, and ends up running some trouble. There's some kind of like I won't go into it, but shit happens. It kicks off big time, as you can happen. But I mean, the thing is, it's like someone with like there's a lot of people that are like, you're playing yourself and you're like fucking like being this much of a cunt, and like there's all kinds of stuff about like how escalated are her views in it. Like, I mean,
is it all filmed on a dash cam?
Mostly, and like cutting between that and like phone cameras and all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And like fucking, if she is like fucking a tenth of what she's like in the film, she's a fucking horrible person.
Really?
And like Rob Savage said, I did want to make a film where the protagonist is a fucking arsehole.
Right.
So it's like, to what degree has that been fucking elevated? And and like so a lot of people were questioning like fucking, why have you even made a film about this woman? Like,
right, yeah.
And fucking obviously it turns out he's shagging her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But like fucking like,
is the film actually entertaining though, or is it just like
it entertained me.
Yeah.
It
so
entertained
interesting qualities.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are like, nah, fucking, I know people who've walked out on it or like are just really unhappy with it. Like, nah, you should not be platforming the kind of views that she's pushing, and even if they are exaggerated versions of her views.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So they're kind of playing into it and all. Like they said, like View Cinemas said they wouldn't show it. And like a lot of cinemas said they wouldn't show it, but it was just like, nah, we don't think this will sell in a fucking View Cinema. But then suddenly they're trying to push it as the film they tried to ban.
Right, of course, yeah. Which has worked in the past.
Yeah, fucking some cases with outright lies.
There's something about something being banned that makes you want to see it more, innit?
This is it, man. Like, I fucking grew up in the video nasty era, man. Like, fucking things were hard to fucking get.
Yeah. Clockwork Orange was one that got banned as well, wasn't it? That came out years later.
Yeah. When Kubrick died, like, do you know that was only banned in Britain, though, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, by Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, because I heard, because people were imitating the film or something, it got a bit too real, and he was like, this needs to stop, kind of thing.
I'm not sure if there was even that many incidents, or it might have been something that was blown up in the papers or something, because we know papers are known to do that.
Yeah.
But he generally believed, like, flipping, I'm banning this in Britain because the fucking British public are not fucking safe. They're fucking wrong uns, the lot of them.
Mad. You know, Stanley Kubrick is like a family friend kind of thing. I never met him myself.
Really?
My parents are friends with his daughter. They're not in touch anymore, but they were basically friends when they were younger, and like they were around Kubrick a lot, and like when he was making these films and all that kind of stuff, to the point that they actually gave like some of the stuff, like the bicycle and the jumper from The Shining. My older brother had it.
Wow.
We don't actually have it anymore. They got rid of it, but they at time I've got pictures of him wearing the jumper from The Shining.
Well, the little
the Apollo one.
Yeah, the little fucking
rocker, the little knitted jumper. I got pictures of my brother wearing it, and obviously because he was the same age as the kid in The Shining when that was being made. they gave him some of the clothes.
Wild.
But yeah, and like my auntie and stuff hung around, like was friends with the daughter as well, and she told me a lot of like crazy stories about like going to Stanley Kubrick's house and all this kind of stuff, like because he used to live in England.
Yeah.
For a long time, I think up until he died.
Yeah, it wasn't it like the last time he ever went on a plane was the day he passed his pilot's license, because he said
crazy.
Like he was learning to fly, he passed his pilot's license. He goes, right, I am never getting on one of them things then, because I know exactly how much can go wrong with them.
That's crazy.
And that was why they had to make fucking Full Metal Jacket in Pinewood Studios. And
that's so interesting. But it's also interesting that he would be that paranoid about something like commercial flying, because yeah, there are crashes that happen, but how rare are they? Honestly, we all go on holidays.
Yeah. You know, he's
a very interesting guy. Have you seen his pictures that he used to take? Like his photography was amazing. Like in I think it's like the 50s or something. It's very old, but it's like he took all these black and white pictures around New York, and even then,
on the tube and that, like candid ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he just had that eye for it. You know what I mean? You can see why. There's a reason why all the Kubrick films are so well, choreographed, or the composition is always like so like symmetrical and like he's a visionist. I still haven't seen all of Kubrick's films. I've still got some to watch, his older ones. Some of them are hit and miss. Like obviously I love a lot of the later ones. The Shining be one of the best.
Yeah.
I didn't really get the hype with 2000 was it called 2001?
2001. I watched that recently because there was a Blu-ray sale on at HMV, and it just so happened to fall on my payday when I was off work.
Yeah, I feel like I do need to revisit it because I watched it a very long time ago, and I feel like I've changed a lot as a person since I watched it. But I remember me just not really resonating with it, finding it a bit boring. But people say that's a really good one to see in a cinema, like on a big screen, just because of the effects. But
in the HMV sale, like I picked up the box set of it, Kubrick box set. I've got it over there, like.
Yeah.
And I thought, great, I've got all these now, and I got it for 25 quid. I was like, oh, what a bargain. And then I noticed they had the 4K discs of 2001 and The Shining. And I didn't have a 4K player. So I just go, I've got to buy one now. So I bought one, which has mysteriously turned itself on during this interview, the 4K player.
How is it? Do you notice like a difference? Is it like...
I don't think my telly's quite good enough to truly appreciate it. Like, so I'm getting a new telly. So this £25 box set's gonna like cost me about $1,000 in like new equipment, but it's equipment I was gonna buy anyway.
Yeah. But this is giving you the nudge.
Yeah, but I was like, I think I was doing a battle in Bristol, like the next day. So I kind of messaged. So like 2001 was a big one with me. For smoking terrible soap bar weed reasons in uni. You're watching it on a fucking VHS pan scan on my mate's telly, which was like, it'd be considered a small telly now, but at the time it was the biggest telly anyone I knew owned.
Yeah.
And then DVDs came out and we got them. So it's sort of a thing. It's something I always watch on the new technology when the new technology comes out. So when the 4K disc had like jumped into my hand, I had to get a 4K thing for it. But I was doing it.
What other Kubrick films do you like then? Like what ones are up there for you out of Kubrick?
For me, it's The Shining and Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the first half of Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I might even say only the first half of Full Metal Jacket. Like,
yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, the second half is like a fantastic war film, but the first half is like there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like Clockwork Orange as well. I put that up there. And then I don't know about any. I like Eyes Wide Shut. I liked.
Yeah. That was one I rewatched recently, and all because what you call it when I did the big deep dive on the Scary of 61st. Like there's an episode, like a few episodes back, I got LS Dean in just so we could talk about just that film.
Mm.
And, like I brought him down. Like I've got a studio I do this with and all, but I'm trying to get like people who can't get to Chester on the podcast. Like, but yeah, the scariest 61st. Do you know what the film is?
No.
It's like Dasha Nekrasova, who's like she's in Succession. She also does one of these like what they call a dirtbag left type podcast, like kind of like socialist, so Chapo Trap House kind of thing. She does like one with her mate called like Red Scare, and they made this film called The Scary of 61st, and it's like it's about these girls who like move into a flat. And the flat in Manhattan, like sort of like Upper East Side, like old money, and that was owned by Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this girl turns up who's like sort of like trying to find out what really happened and all this kind of stuff. And they use a lot of actual touch points from like the ongoing case at the time. Like there's a bit in it when the person she does the podcast with like appears as like either Ghislaine Maxwell or a Ghislaine Maxwell lookalike, because when they made the film, she hadn't been arrested at that point.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they use like that footage that got taken off YouTube where like someone sent a drone over Little St. James and all this.
Oh, yeah.
But the film itself is like it's very like Polanski influenced.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting to me, like using the language of a predator to make a film about people looking into a predator. And Eyes Wide Shut's also a big influence on that. Because that was the conspiracy theory about one of the many about Kubrick, that Eyes Wide Shut is like why they said, right, we're going to shut this cunt down.
Yeah.
Because
because it's like the whole Illuminati type thing, isn't it? Like it's kind of, people said the same thing about Matt Groening in The Simpsons, the Stonecutters episode.
Yeah.
Like saying that they just put like these things like in their own work to try like I don't know what the word is, like hide in plain sight or just like be brazen with it or like put it out there, but like they're really people that believe that like they're actually part of this cult that like practice these kind of things, and then they're kind of like doing a parody of it in their own work, which is interesting. I never really got deep into the conspiracy stuff, but I love hearing about them. Like I'll read up about it. I love talking to people that are passionate about it. I feel like now conspiracy theorist is so much more of a dirty word. Like when I used to love, I mean, I still do.
Oh, COVID ruined it, didn't it?
I know it did. It did.
It was because all the people who never heard of conspiracies before had just sort of got into it during the first lockdown.
Yeah.
And they haven't got the same kind of bullshit filter that people who are into it have.
Yeah.
It was getting ridiculous. And it sort of like ended up ushering a new era of tech censorship.
Yeah, literally, yeah. But I still love conspiracy theories, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you what you choose to believe or whatnot. And like at the end of the day, it's all kind of like, I think when people let them get too obsessed with it or upsets them, affecting their life, then obviously it's a problem. Yeah. But most of the time, it's more like entertainment or just like, I find it just more interesting. And like, even if it isn't true, it's like, what if? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think like when they really start affecting people, that tends to be like, it's more of a symptom of something else that's going on in that person's life than the actual conspiracies themselves. Like, I mean, 100%. Like if you're dealing with difficulties and you're dealing with like paranoia and other aspects of your life, then someone starts presenting this kind of stuff to you and you start looking deeper and deeper into it and you find out that some of it is true, then, you know, it can push people over the edge, which is always quite sad to see. I'm just going to give
sorry to interrupt, but like, how do you actually know what is real and what isn't? Like, because we're obviously fed bullshit. So like, how do you know what's real and what's not? I struggle with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really like know what the narrative is. I don't know what to believe sometimes. Do you know what I mean? You just can only really just believe what's in your immediate circle and in your life, and that's all you can really do. But like, and for as far as like where your opinions lie politically and with all these kind of subjects, sometimes I struggle to even know where I stand. Like, because it's like, how do you know what's real and what's not?
That's it. Like, because because I don't think you can. So ultimately, you just can't let it govern your life, and you've just because like it's like the thing that changed it around is like someone saying like, so okay, so these people are running the world, and so this is happening, and this and this and this. So what if it is all true? You still got to go to work tomorrow. The pub will still be there.
Yeah, Where do you go from there? Do you know what I mean?
Flipping, unless you're going to become an armed militia and take down the Illuminati single-handedly.
Yeah.
You've got to accept that even if it is true, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You flipping. Just want to give a big shout out to Cosmo, who like flipping. While we've been on, I've just had the alert that he signed up to the Patreon. Big up Cosmo.
Big up to Cosmo.
Yeah, man. But I saw him the other week. Like,
yeah, how's he done?
He's doing good, man. He's doing good. I think he's like quite happy with his job, and like we went to watch my boy Danny McLaughlin. Shout out Damn Daniel podcast. Went to see him doing his solo show, which is fantastic. Catch him if you can. And then outside, we just had a smoke and like just went on about like different Tories that we hated. Yeah. Always fun. Yeah. But we'll wrap this up shortly. But before we do, like is there anything over the last year or so that's sort of like caught your attention? Maybe an old discovering something that you hadn't seen before?
I did actually make some notes on my phone. Yeah. Some films that came out recently. Okay, so did you see Deerskin?
I haven't, no.
Oh my days. Do you know Quentin Dupe? I don't know saying his name. Quentin Dupex?
Yeah, Mr. Wazo.
He made the film. I haven't actually seen this one, but I think it was one of the first ones he did was the film about the rubber tire.
Oh yeah, Rubber.
Yeah. But this was the first film I ever seen of his, and since then I've watched like a few of his films because he's such an interesting director. But Deerskin, I definitely recommend that. That's my favorite one of his. You should watch that. It's basically about a guy who finds like he wears his deerskin jacket and he loves it so much that he basically like thinks that no one else should wear a jacket. It's like it's bananas. It's like it's hot, and then he goes around and starts killing people and all kinds of madness. But it's such a weird film, and you can't really explain the premise. But I imagine that's what a lot of his other films. But since I watched that, I started going through some of his other films, and you can definitely tell he's got his own style. Yeah. Like all his films are just like batshit crazy, bizarre, but he's like so unique. So he's someone I've discovered recently that I'm a big fan of. But yeah, definitely recommend Deerskin. I haven't actually seen Tire, but I need to see that one as well.
Yeah, Rubber's like I think that was his first film that he did, and I mean, aside from like the Flat Eric stuff.
Yeah, that's what's interesting as well, is that he did the Flat Eric, which is like obviously a very iconic music video. And like it was huge at the time, do you know what I mean? And when I was looking at his thing and I found that was his background, I thought that's such an interesting correlation that he went on to make these films. Yeah,
because his music was like well ahead of the game, like flipping. He was doing that kind of like that bass line in that flat beat tune.
Yeah,
flipping, like that's what like it took a few years until like there was like garage doing it and all that kind of thing. Like, but he was ahead of that.
Yeah, that beat still bangs.
Yeah. And like I mean, like when everyone else in the world was just thinking about like just making a banging tune that people can dance to, and like there it is. I'll play it in clubs. I'll play it in raves. To then have the further idea of like, you know what this needs? A puppet.
Yeah, yeah. He's a genius. He's a genius. You definitely check out his other films though, but start with Deerskin. That's the one.
I will do.
Yeah, man. No, sorry. I was just what other recent films were there that's in Surge? Have you seen Surge on Netflix?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's literally just about this guy who just like he's living in London, living in like a dead end job, working at an airport, and he just one day he just loses it and just goes crazy, and he goes on some like mad like it's all kind of almost like all in one kind of like day, kind of like him just going on some like he's just having like the weirdest day. But you should, yeah, that's a good one. I enjoyed that one. Surge, I
Was
recommend
it like
that.
a falling down kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah. It's like Falling Down mixed with Safdie Brothers. It's almost like
Oh yeah.
Uncut Gems mixed with Falling Down.
Yeah, that kind of
Mixed
escalation
with,
and anxiety, like.
yeah, that exactly. But mixed with like being set in London. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. Falling Down, Safdie Brothers, and like London.
That's a hell of a combination. I could fully get behind that. Like falling down, like it was just the one, I love that as a setup for a film because it's such a simple setup that one day someone just cannot be asked anymore.
It's a classic, absolute classic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's just a great format for a film, isn't it? Just a person who's just had enough and he just wreaks havoc. Like. But yeah, man, another director. There was a couple of directors I wanted to touch on.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
One guy that I've always been fascinated with his work and just him as a person, Harmony Korine.
Yeah.
Like I've literally only recently I was watching some like old interviews with him and stuff like because obviously he wrote Kids when he was like sort of 19 and that was like a big controversial film at the time, like New York teenagers and all that kind of stuff. And then he went on to make his first film he made was Gummo.
Yeah.
Have you seen Gummo?
Yeah, I've seen Gummo. That's a powerful piece of work. Like,
yeah, it's so strange. But like, I watched all these interviews. Like, he went on David Letterman a lot, and he like had these. He's so like quirky and like funny to talk. Like he would just say all these crazy stuff about his films, but he's quite charming. But you know, he would say things. I mean, like his films, like he doesn't want a beginning, middle, and end. He just wants he just wants it to be like interesting sort of scenes. Like he doesn't think that you need a story. You just need to have like interesting characters and interesting scenes, and it can just be random. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously that makes his films very like not to everyone's taste.
Yeah.
But he's just like a very fascinating individual. And then I was watching an interview with him. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about David Letterman is he went on David Letterman a few times, like throughout his career when he was like sort of younger, into his middle age. And then there was one time where he actually got banned. He's actually been banned from the David Letterman show because he was on one of the shows, and then he got kicked out of the. They didn't air him. They didn't show. He didn't interview. He went to the studio. But basically, David Letterman walked in and found him in like the dressing room of who was it again? It was a big Hollywood actress. I can't remember who it was, but basically he was looking through her purse. Like apparently he was in one of those weird kind of phases for his life where he was like probably not there mentally or whatever. So David Letterman caught him searching through the purse and kicked him out of the show.
Well, like personally?
Personally. Came to the green room or whatever, went into the room and found him. And he was basically just like, get out. He like, there's an interview of him talking about it with James Franco, but I just thought it was such an interesting story, especially if you've watched some of his other interviews. Yeah. And then I was watching this other interview with him, and he was like talking about this film that never came out called Fight Harm. Have you ever heard of this? He basically, this was after Gummo and in between, after Gummo and before whatever his next film was. This is an abandoned project that never came out. And it was basically him, and this was like around 1999. It was the late 90s, and he was basically like going around getting in fights with people. And this was before bum fights, or maybe bum fights happening at the same time or whatever. But basically, he was just going around just trying to start fights, and his rules were that like you can't throw the first punch, but he can like try to piss someone off so much that they'll fight him. So he was basically going around New York, and had people filming him, and like just getting into as many fights as possible. And they basically stopped the production of it because he got arrested too many times. He got too many injuries. He had too many hospital trips, and also all the fights were really short. So he just ended up abandoning the whole project. But I just thought that was such a mad story. If you look it up on Wikipedia, there isn't really much. There's a few YouTube videos about it as well. But Fight Harm. And I thought that was so interesting because that was before Jackass and all that kind of stuff as well. And that whole prank kind of thing. But it was just so extreme where it was like, it was the same kind of style as bum fights basically. But he was the only guy that was going into these fights.
That's wild.
What an interesting individual. And then he went on to go do all these other films later, like Spring Breakers and etc.
Yeah. Was it him who did Bully?
Bully, no. Bully was Larry Clark, who.
Was it? Yeah, he
Larry Clark
directed Kids.
directed Kids, and then Harmony Korine wrote it. Yeah, but Bully, that is another heavy film.
Yeah.
I love that film, but it's very, very hardcore, extreme.
I flipping like I watched it years ago. I don't. It's one of those I don't think I could watch again. Like because like stuff involving like teenagers, like, and it's that real
it's
about.
unsettling.
Yeah, I like it. Like flipping. Like I haven't been able to watch this like Euphoria. Like I'm an old cunt now. Like fucking, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with teenagers doing like even stuff that I did as a teenager. Like because they just look too young to me to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, a lot of them films, and Gummo was very disturbing as well. To the point that I've never watched it since. I think I first watched it, or just maybe I watched it once or twice, but it was so like impactful. There's a few films like that where you don't need to watch it loads of times, but the first time you watch it, it's just
the impact stays with you. Like like Gaspar Noé's a lot like that. Like
100%. He's one of my favorite directors as well. I actually saw his latest film in the cinema. And he was there, so he did a little Q&A afterwards.
I heard about that show, and I still haven't seen it.
Which was like completely different to all his other films. It's got the same tropes of a Gaspar Noé film. Like you kind of like, it's still his style very much. You can tell, but it's such a different kind of topic, I guess. I mean, it's about old people getting old and having dementia and. But it's very impactful as well. Very long, like it drags out in places. But I think all of his films do that. Even though I'm a huge fan of all his films, they always are like very long scenes that drag out. But I
think that's part of what he does, isn't it? It's like he makes things become an ordeal, like and like for the audience, like.
But I loved Enter the Void, Climax, all his films. Again.
Climax. That's one that really hit me hard, like. Yeah. Because I've spoke about it on when I had my mate Tim on in the studio. We did an episode about emotionally devastating films, and like of all his films, they're all emotionally devastating, but Climax is the one that gets me, like, because I had my problems in the past, like, and I was very involved in raving. I went to a lot of parties where things got a bit dark, and that's the only time I've ever seen that successfully captured on a film, when a party's been going on a bit too long and everything's going a bit too crazy, like, and
the dancing was amazing in it as well.
Yeah, like, that opening sequence, incredible.
And just something about the way Gaspar always moves his camera is always mesmerizing. But yeah, that film, it was. It's crazy. That the scene with the little kid and the so dark. It's like, but his films always have those eerie like moments that are just like so like heart sinking. Yeah, where it's like I can't believe it can be this bad.
This is how much of an impact it had on me. Like flipping. There's an Arrow Blu-ray section in my local HMV, which is like only 10 minutes from my house, and I'm in there all the time, like, because I like buying, like, if I haven't pre-ordered it, I like to buy a new release in a shop. I just like that I can still do that. But yeah, flipping, like, there's a copy of Climax that's just been sitting there for ages. And when I'm going in, they're like thinking, I'll treat myself to a new Blu-ray today. I always see Climax, and I go, Because I don't know if I don't know if I'm ready to watch it again. Like,
I know what you mean. Like, even me, I mean, like, he's one of my favorite directors, but I can't watch his film all the time. It's rare that I'm in the mood to watch one. But the first time I watch it, it's like it has such an impact on me. Like, I don't even know if I'll really watch Vortex again, or maybe I will at some point. But I love his films. I'm lucky that I've seen a lot of his ones in the cinema as well now, because I'm such a fan of him. Since I watched Enter the Void at the cinema, I've watched all of his films that came out on the cinema. Love was a weird one to watch in the cinema.
I can imagine flipping, it opens up on someone getting jacked off.
Yeah.
In a depressing way.
in 3D as well.
Yeah.
But no, that was probably his worst film, to be honest. That was a miss.
Yeah. I might pick up Enter the Void because Arrow just put out a really snazzy box set of it. And it looks gorgeous. I've got the Arrow app, so I could just watch the film, but I think, it's just such an attractive package. I feel like I need to own it.
That'll be beautiful on Blu-ray as well. Those visuals. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. So, fucking hell, this has been a great conversation. We'll wrap it up there. Do you want to drop your plugs, your socials and all that?
Yeah, man. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good shit. Cruger7. Do you know what I mean? On TikTok, it's Cruger777, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we need to know. Cruger and 7.
That's the one. Like, fantastic. I've been Kinell. This has been Sinister Cinema. Catch you next week. Peace.